These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Guru Fnu Lu. Response to Pimpy's HCL non-revenue sharing post. She says, the notion of revenue sharing is nothing new in the Middle East. Brunei and Kuwait both do it. Revenue Watch Middle East Director Yahya said recently returned from several months in Iraq working on international compact with the UN. The USI Peace Briefing summarizes the discussion. Many Iraqi citizens look to the law for what it can contribute to reconciliation, security, and welfare. The three parts of the agreement will deal with the issues of revenue sharing, restructuring of the Ministry of Oil, and establishing the Iraqi National Oil Company, the INOC. It is quite clear that the HCL has intentions to codify the issue of welfare, not for government, and the number one issue is revenue sharing. To be more specific, Section 1314 of FY 2007 Supplemental Appropriations Act, PL 110-28, specifically identified the enactment and implementation of legislation. She shares a quote that says, to ensure the equitable distribution of hydrocarbon resources of the people of Iraq without regard to the sect or ethnicity of recipients, and to ensure that the energy resources of Iraq benefits the Sunni Arabs, Shia Arabs, Kurds, and other uh, Iraqi citizens in an equitable manner as benchmarks. Frank 26 Firefly Ramadan is over on the 8th. Then we have Eid holiday from the 8th to the 14th. Then on the 15th, Sudani is supposed to go to Washington, D.C. It's time to get a little excited. Claire article quote, Al-Shamari reveals the most prominent files of Sudani's visit to Washington and the government's ambition regarding the dollar. Quote, Al-Sudani's visit to Washington will be practical and will not be for taking pictures. The Iraqi delegation will ask the American side about the reasons for their decisions to impose sanctions on Iraqi banks. Our expectations are that the visit will be very successful. Mark Z via PDK question, since Sudani has gone to the U.S. on April 15th, does that mean nothing will happen on the RV until then or after? Mark Z says many believe he could be coming to the U.S. after the RV for his victory lap. Walking Stick report number 1, his Iraqi bank owner friend in Iraq, and in our opinion, Walking Stick says the HCL has been long done, Article 140 in disputed territories done. The redenomination at the onset, that rate is done, awaiting nothing but the release and implementation of all of this. Militiaman, why in the world would anybody want to invest into Iraq if they were going to put their money into Iraq and then they were going to lose? Because if you invest your money in Iraq and they lop their currency, you're not going to make any money. It's a neutral event. Pimpy says it really looks good for the future of Iraq outside of the corruption that's in the government. If they can stay on the path, al-Sudani gets a clear path to continue. The future for Iraq's economy looks really good. They should see some economic boom as long as the coordination framework and those political people that are in power can somehow get out of the way or removed from office altogether. Frank 26 says you're not going to a mom and pop bank. You're not going to a small little bank. You're not going to go to a credit union. You're not going to go to a kiosk at the airport. You're not going to go on some cruise ship in the middle of the Pacific so you can exchange and not have to pay taxes because it's in international water. How stupid is that? You're going to go to a state bank. Mark Z via PDK's Vietnam News, VN Central Bank drains more money from system. And that's the article quote. Mark Z says they have withdrawn more than 75 trillion VND from the last 5 trading session. Mark Z says, guys, this is almost like they're preparing for an event, and I am excited about that. Lastly, Bruce via Wiser Now, rates are going to be great. Don't worry about that. We're supposed to be given the contract rate on Dinar, which is tied to the price of oil per barrel.